If you thought Seattle was bad, you had no idea. The receipts are in, and they're absolutely brutal. Just a few weeks ago, Seattle's self-described socialist mayor publicly dared the entrepreneurs and business creators in her city to flee her city in the wake of her massive tax hikes. She literally said bye. She, with a snarky little wave and a smirk, to the job creators, to the entrepreneurs, to the producers, the taxpayers who fund the very government she supposedly runs. But then something happened. Something beyond poetic justice. You are not going to believe this. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, enjoying yet another glorious day in the Trumpian golden age, far, far away from Seattle, a golden age that you made possible back in November of 2024. So if you want a front row seat on how you continue to change the world in ways you never even imagined, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Meet the ultra-woke socialist mayor of Seattle, Katie Wilson. She's a former barista who was elected mayor of Seattle on an explicitly socialist platform. She didn't hide it. She didn't soften it. She ran full Mamdani, full-blown Democrat socialist. And after she won, she's governed accordingly. And one of her very first acts after taking office is she publicly called for a boycott of Starbucks. The company founded in Seattle, Starbucks, the company that puts Seattle on the global cultural map, the company that employs thousands of Seattle residents. She said, I'm not buying Starbucks, and you shouldn't either. That was her opening move as mayor. And the people of Seattle cheered. Then on April 14th of this year, Wilson appeared at a Seattle University forum. The topic was Washington State's new 9.9%, just call it 10, capital gains and wealth tax on millionaires. And a member of the audience raised the concern that high earners were already leaving the state, and Wilson's response was beyond ironic.
I think the claims that millionaires are going to leave our state are like super overblown, and if the ones that leave, like bye.
Now we should note there that Seattle's getting exactly what they deserve. Okay, those with those clapping seals. Katie Wilson is a symptom of the virus of greed and resentment that has infested so much of the population of Seattle. That's all their socialism ultimately is. It's the economic manifestation of greed and resentment. And a borderline illiterate like Katie Wilson is just the symptom of that. And the irony of it all, as we see played over and over and over again all across the world, wherever this socialist virus infects the population, the irony of it all is it only ends up destroying the very people that enact it. Those clapping seals are the ones who ultimately get hurt by this. Case in point, Starbucks, just 5 months after Wilson called for a public boycott of the company, Starbucks announced it is investing $100 million in a brand new corporate campus in, ding, 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 Nashville. Oh, who could have possibly guessed that? That's right. 2,000 jobs going to Nashville, not Seattle. And in case you missed the message, Nashville is in Tennessee, a deep red state with zero income tax, a Republican governor, supermajority in their legislature, and a business climate that's essentially the exact opposite of Seattle's in every conceivable way. And it didn't stop there. Just days back, on May 15th, Starbucks announced, well, what do you know? 300 more corporate layoffs in Seattle. Seattle's headquarters is technically being retained in name, but the trajectory is unmistakable. The company that Wilson boycotted is voting with its feet, its capital, and its jobs. And it's voting away from socialist Seattle. And then the New York Times published this piece just a few days back. It's almost too good to be true. The reporter asked Wilson about her bye comments, And she openly admitted the backfire that she was getting, even from Democrats. Her fellow Democrats were like, girl, you can't talk like that. She admitted that that idiotic comment caused far more harm than good. And keep in mind, the harm is ultimately to her constituents in Seattle who no longer have jobs, who are seeing their tax base shrivel up and watching their city begin to shrink. And then in the very same interview, if you can believe it, she did her best to save face. She actually claimed she had a great relationship with Starbucks. She has a great relationship, and she wants them to absolutely stay in Seattle. Keep in mind, this is the company she boycotted. She publicly announced a boycott on this company. She told her constituents to stop buying from this, and now she's got a great relationship. We're wonderful. I mean, this is the very definition of backpedaling, but it all looks to be too little, too late, because as it turns out, as you may have guessed, this was not an isolated case of one company leaving Seattle. There's been nothing less than a mass exodus from the city and Washington, as the state of Washington in general, among businesses and corporations over the last few years. Jeff Bezos moved from Seattle to Miami years ago, and the explicit reason was to avoid Washington's ridiculous capital gains tax. That single departure, that one alone, Bezos, cost Washington state hundreds of millions of dollars in projected annual revenue. Hundreds of millions. Washington's new 9.9% millionaires tax was supposed to be a revenue bonanza. That's how they sold it. Instead, high earners are restructuring their finances, relocating their domiciles, and they are quietly exiting, and the revenue projections are absolutely shriveling. They are falling short. The millionaires Wilson waved bye to, well, guess what? They are actually leaving. And they're taking their wallets with them. And the city and the state are going bankrupt as a result. I know you keep telling yourself at some point in the future you're going to buy and store away a few dozen gallons of water just in case an emergency hits your family and the water shuts off. We've all experienced it. You know, the storm hits, the faucet stops working, and we're left wondering how long it's going to be before we have drinking water again. Every time it happens, we kick ourselves for not being more prepared. Well, here's an easy step that you can take that costs less than a dinner out. It's called the Pure Water Straw, and it can clean an entire year of water for you. It's absolutely amazing. It's the perfect emergency tool for making sure your family always has clean water through a disaster. So I got a little bit of some dirty water here, as it were. And what you do is you just take it out and you take the top off. And then what you can do is you can drink from any water source, no matter how dirty. Check this out. I'm kidding. I kid you not. It tastes just like water. This is coffee, obviously. I don't taste the coffee. It's just water. I mean, this is amazing. The Pure Water Straw allows you to drink from literally any water source, from the pond, from the mud puddle, the bucket that caught the rainwater, even, I kid you not, even the toilet. The Pure Water Straw instantly cleans out bacteria, pathogens, and debris and purifies the water. So you can drink clean water from any source without worrying about, puking your guts out. We have these in our home. We got them in our cars. We've got them in our go bags. Or emergency responders actually recommend having one of these on hand for every member of your household. They store well in their sealed bag. It's a tool your family would be able to count on for years to come. Now, if a takeout meal is more important than a year of clean water for your family, well, then obviously the Pure Water Straw isn't for you. But if you know how important clean water is and understand how quickly a disaster can change everything, then getting a few of these Pure Water Straws is a no-brainer. It's the most logical next step, both for your peace of mind, but also from an investment price standpoint, because normally these are $45 each, but today the makers, Sierra Madre, need to make some space in their Wisconsin warehouse, and so they're marking these guys down over 60% with free shipping to boot. Click the link in the description below and grab yours today so your family's ready for the next crisis or disaster. You won't regret it. Click on that link below right now. What Katie Wilson's buy moment ultimately exposes, besides her own economic illiteracy, is the fundamental, irreducible, inescapable economic contradiction at the heart of socialism itself. And I want to walk through that with you because once you see it, you just can't unsee it. Here's the core promise of democratic socialism as practiced in these municipalities like Seattle and Mamdani's New York. We will take from those who have too much, and we will give to those who have too little. Right, that's the basic premise. We will tax the rich, we will fund the poor, and we will build a more equal and equitable society. It's a morally intuitive pitch. It's politically very popular, except for one inconvenient fact. It's economically self-defeating every single time. And here's why. Socialism in every form, from the hard Marxist variety to the woke progressive variety practiced by Wilson, treats capital as a fixed resource to be redistributed. It assumes the rich are a static pool. It assumes that if you tax them 9.9%, they'll simply write the check and stay. It assumes that wealth is like a physical object, a pie that you can simply slice differently without changing the size of the pie. But capital is not a fixed object. Capital is more like water. It's liquid. Capital goes where it's welcomed and it flees where it's punished and obstructed. It's very simple. You always get less of what you tax and more of what you subsidize. Always. That's because of the inherent liquidity of cash. It's not a right-wing talking point. This is not a Fox News narrative. This is basic economics that's been demonstrated in every nation, every city, and every era that's tried the socialist experiment. When you tax the productive class beyond what they are willing to pay, and you always will end up doing that, they have options. They can restructure. They can relocate. They can stop investing. They can move their businesses, as Starbucks just did to Tennessee or Texas or Florida, states that welcome them. And when they leave, what happens? The tax base inevitably shrinks. And when the tax base inevitably shrinks, the very services the socialists promised to fund, the housing, the transit, the social programs, go unfunded. So what does the socialist do? She raises taxes on whoever is left, which drives out more businesses, which shrinks the tax base even further. And that's the socialist death spiral. Detroit, Baltimore, Chicago, San Francisco, LA, and now slowly but unmistakably Seattle. And here's the deepest irony of all. The people who are most harmed by this cycle are not the millionaires. The millionaires leave. They wave their own buy right back at you, load up their capital, and they set up shop in Nashville. The people who are most harmed are the working class Seattleites who can't afford to relocate, who depend on those jobs, those tax revenues, those corporate headquarters for their livelihoods. The Starbucks barista doesn't get to move to Nashville when corporate pulls 2,000 jobs out of the Pacific Northwest. The construction worker doesn't benefit when the next tech campus gets built in Austin instead of Seattle. The school that was supposed to be funded by the millionaires' tax doesn't get built when the millionaires leave. Socialism always promises to help the poor, and it always ends up hurting them the most. Margaret Thatcher said it best. The problem with socialism is that eventually you run out of other people's money. But I'd add something to that in the age of Katie Wilson. The problem with socialism in the 21st century is that the other people's money can now get on a plane in Nashville before you can even finish writing the tax bill. Katie Wilson said bye to the millionaires of Seattle. Well, they said bye-bye right back. And now she's the one left holding the bill. And there's nothing she can do about it. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below. And as always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button for breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. Love you guys. God bless. Gang, every Monday night, I go live with patriots just like you for an uncensored Q&A. You bring the questions, I give you straight answers. No corporate spin or censorship, just me and you in a real conversation. Scan the QR code and join us inside the Courageous Patriot Club. I'll see you Monday night.